Alzheimer's disease. Please welcome Alex to the stage.
Good morning. As was mentioned, my name is Alex McGarrett, and I'm honored to be speaking here today. I'm a member of the Junior Board for the Greater Illinois chapter of the Alzheimer's Association, and I was also a part of the Young Professionals Committee in Los Angeles, which is where I did my first walk 3 years ago. Each walk has held a very special place in my heart, and this one today is particularly special for a few reasons. First, it's my first walk wearing this purple tutu. I recognize it is a bold choice. I am going to stick to it. I feel very excited. Second, I'll repeat what I said before, and that I'm truly honored to be standing up here and speaking in front of you today. Here's hoping I don't get rushed off the stage anytime soon. Third, and perhaps what I continue to be most aware of since I committed to speaking today, is that this is the first walk where I truly feel I'm home. I grew up in Northbrook and Lake Forest, and I'm lucky to be walking with members of my family for the first time today. That said, there's one family member I wish could be here with me, and I simultaneously recognize that if she were, I wouldn't have the same compelling reason to walk. And that family member is my mom. When I was 15, my mom was diagnosed with early onset Alzheimer's at the age of 50. The once bold and fiercely independent woman I knew quickly became a stranger to me. My mom has always been known as a force to be reckoned with, and so it was very odd to watch her go through the initial stages of Alzheimer's. At first, it was the little things. She would forget to pick me up from school, or she would go to pick me up from school instead of picking me up from work, and we once got lost on a drive home from the airport. Then, when I was 16, one day my mom asked, "What's your name again?" I don't even remember what I said in response. Even as I was writing what I would say today, there's much I feel that I've forgotten because Alzheimer's just didn't make sense to me at the time. I could process other diseases, but Alzheimer's wreaked havoc on my family as we tried to figure out how to handle the loss of my mom in so many ways. I still remember the afternoon of my high school graduation. In case you're wondering, I'm a Loyola Rambler. At this point, my mom had been battling Alzheimer's for about 3 years. Just a few weeks before, my family and I had flown to North Carolina to see my brother graduate from college. And my mom had made it through traveling and attending his graduation, and it didn't occur to us that much might change in just a few weeks. However, a few weeks of early onset Alzheimer's had a huge impact. The day of my graduation, my mom refused to get ready to go with us, insisting that the clothing that my dad had laid out for her was for children and that he was trying to trick her. Just 5 minutes before my brother and I were ready to go by ourselves, my mom changed her mind and decided to join us. Fortunately, graduation was fairly uneventful, and on our way home, we decided to stop by Baker Square to get some dessert to celebrate. As we made our way to the table to sit down, my mom stopped and started yelling towards our table while looking at my dad. She said, "I'm not going with him. He hits me. I am not going with him." A moment of uncomfortable silence followed as we decided what to do. I was ready to leave, and my aunt insisted, "No, Alex, you deserve to be able to celebrate. We can have dessert. It's okay." With Alzheimer's and any life-threatening disease, there's this inclination to hold on to what is normal. When I was 19, I was diagnosed with cancer, and I remember trying to maintain normalcy as much as possible. So chemo would just be a blip in my life, not the definition of my life at the time. In the same way, that night at graduation, and all throughout my mom's fight with Alzheimer's, my family and I fought the battle of how to maintain normalcy. The night of graduation, normalcy was having dessert with my family, because if my mom could make it through dessert, then maybe things would be okay. We could do what normal families do. However, as you all know, there's nothing normal about what happened that night or what Alzheimer's does to anyone. We didn't have dessert that night. Instead, I asserted, "This is my graduation, and I would really just love for us to go home," because I hoped that would calm my mom down. My family could feel the heat of the eyes of the guests of the restaurant on us as my mom continued to claim, "He hits me, he hits me," and at that moment, all we could do was smile a little with tears in our eyes as we reassured her, "It's okay. We're gonna go home, and it'll be okay." We went home, but in just 3 years, Alzheimer's had taken from my mom the ability to enjoy being with her family, to love life as she used to, and so it wasn't okay. Instead, she feared the people who loved her the most. My parents would have celebrated their 40th wedding anniversary the year after my mom passed away, and my dad has always been head over heels in love with my mom. It might seem unthinkable that so many years of marriage and happiness can seemingly be erased. But for my mom, those memories were, and instead she was very scared. She didn't know what was going on, where she was, who she was with, and for about 1.5 years, she actually was very angry, fighting back against the disease, and as a result, fighting against those who take care of her. After my freshman year in college, my dad finally made the choice for my mom to live in a nursing home. Up until this point, my dad had taken care of her at home. We had a nurse who came nearly every day to help my dad, and though he once said he would never put a hospital bed in our house, my mom had her very own bed in their room. I've never before witnessed or known the kind of love my dad showed for my mom. It absolutely broke his heart for her not to be at home with him, and he scheduled his days around her. My dad is 13 years older than my mom, and he always envisioned growing old with her taking care of him instead of the other way around. I speak with my dad every day, and at that time, his schedule either consisted of things to do before I go visit your mom or after I go visit your mom. Even when he was taking me to chemo on a daily basis, he would make sure I made my way home and was resting, and then he would go visit her. My dad finally made the choice to have my mom come back home with him after spending 2 years in a nursing home. She had her own room in our house with a hospital bed and a lift and a hospice nurse who regularly visited her. My dad always speaks about the joy he experienced just being able to have breakfast with her, to see her face, to see her smile even though she didn't know who he was. He loved to be able to say goodnight to her, and when he woke up, he loved to get to see her right away. The year my mom passed away, we found out she had cancer. I remember sharing this news with my best friend, who to this day calls my mom Mom. She asked me, "So, Alex, what happens? Is there surgery, chemo? What's the treatment?" And my heart sunk. I nearly broke down as I explained to her, "Megan, she's do not resuscitate. We're not going to treat it, and it's not going to go away. I'm so sorry." Just a few years before, I'd been the one telling Megan that I had cancer, but I immediately was able to say, "But here's the treatment. Here's how I'm going to get better." And if my mom had not been DNR, yeah, maybe perhaps we would have treated it. But the reality is, even if the cancer went away, even if the treatment worked, she still had Alzheimer's, and there's no way to cure or even slow it, and that's unacceptable. My brother, my dad, and I had been fearing and anticipating this moment for years. And so the news of her illness and knowing what was ahead, albeit scary, was not unforeseen. However, for some of our friends and family, it was, and it was very difficult for them. On September 29th, 2011, just 4 months after my dad told me my mom had cancer, he called me and told me my mom had been having trouble breathing. He also told me the nurse from hospice said that unless my mom were to take in more fluids, she would only be able to live for about 2.5 more weeks. 4 days later, on October 3rd at around 8 a.m., my mom passed away. After 10 years battling, my mom finally got to rest. I can't change the fact that my mom isn't here today, and I can't help but be glad that after her brave fight, she's no longer in pain or scared. That said, I refuse to accept that her fight is over. I just think I've got to do some fighting of my own, and one way that I choose to fight is by walking and raising money and awareness for Alzheimer's research and treatment. So really, why do I fight? Why do I walk each year? Well, I clearly walk in honor and in memory of my mom. I'm here with my mom's sister and my cousins today, and it breaks my heart that my cousins never really got to know my mom. It breaks my heart that I didn't get to know her. I walk because I don't want to have to walk for my friends, and I don't want them to have to walk for me. I don't want to forget the people I love and care about, and I don't want them to forget me either. I walk because I'd like to see a survivor flower at future walks. There's something so sobering about being at these walks. I feel energized as I meet other people like you who are as committed to ending Alzheimer's as I am, but I wish we didn't even have to think about Alzheimer's as a threat. The only way we're going to get there is if we continue to raise money and awareness of just what the disease does. So before I actually do get rushed off the stage, I'd just like to thank you all for being here today, listening to me share my story. It's an honor to be here with you, to walk with you, to know we're fighting this together. And the only way I can imagine today being better is if my mom was up here wearing a matching tutu and walking with me. Thank you.